What if everything we think we know about how a global pandemic spreads is, from a completely different philosophical viewpoint, entirely backwards? Today, we are exploring a purely spiritual interpretation of the crisis that literally throws traditional scientific views right out the window. To really grasp this deeply spiritual perspective, we have to establish exactly where it's coming from. This explainer is mapping out a specific article written by Shui Fang, the founder of the organization Life Chan Yuan. Everything we are breaking down today comes directly from his writings, and we're going to neutrally examine the philosophical architecture he uses to build his rather shocking claims. Here is how we'll break it down today. 1. Shu Feng's core claim. 2. The holographic theory. 3. Buddhism and self-nature. 4. Karma and infection. And finally, 5. The Chan Yuan path. All right, let's jump straight into Section 1, Zhui Feng's core claim, which is the complete rejection of external prevention. So, while the entire world has been absolutely hyper-focused on external prevention, wearing masks, social distancing, lockdowns, Xu Feng, the founder of Life Chan Yuan, explicitly claims that all of these external measures are completely useless. In his specific framework, getting sick has absolutely nothing to do with physical transmission. Instead, he argues it's entirely dictated by internal energetic factors he calls the 8 qi. Now, making a claim that physical barriers don't stop a physical virus is a huge leap. To support this, he doesn't point to medical science at all. Instead, he builds his entire case on 3 distinct philosophical pillars: the universe holographic theory, Buddhist principles, and the concept of karma. Moving on to Section 2, the holographic theory, or the idea that the part contains the whole. Shui Feng uses a really accessible, everyday medical metaphor to explain this abstract concept. Think about getting a blood test. A doctor can understand your entire body's overall health from just a single tiny drop of blood, right? Well, the universe holographic theory argues that the universe works the exact same way. Any part of the universe, no matter how microscopically small, holds the blueprint for the whole thing. A subsystem contains all the information of the macro system. So when you apply that logic to the COVID-19 virus, Shu Feng's crucial point is this: if the virus has been born and exists anywhere on this planet, then according to holographic theory, every single one of us is already fundamentally connected to it. Merely existing on Earth means you are already infected in this metaphysical sense. Spatial distance, physical barriers, he considers them completely irrelevant. That takes us right into his second supporting pillar. Section 3, Buddhism and self-nature, focusing on the internal cosmos. To build on his framework, he references a very famous Buddhist quote: "One flower, one world, one leaf, one Bodhi." It's a beautiful way of illustrating that vast, infinite, complex realities are actually contained within the smallest individual things. It really reinforces his idea that looking outward is secondary. The real focus needs to be looking inward. According to Zhu Feng's framework, humans possess what is known as self-nature. This essentially means we are complete internal universes all by ourselves. We carry the capacity for the most breathtaking, beautiful Buddha nature. But at the exact same time, we also harbor the ugliest, most destructive demonic and animal natures. Whether we manifest that beautiful side or that demonic side is an entirely internal choice. And here is his conclusion on Buddhism. He argues that blaming other people for transmitting the virus to you shows a complete misunderstanding of Buddhist Dharma. In his paradigm, getting sick is just an outward manifestation of your internal self-nature. It's not an external attack from a stranger on the subway. Your physical health is literally just a mirror of your internal spiritual state. But naturally, this raises a massive logical dilemma, bringing us to Section 4. Karma and infection and the conditions of reality. I love asking this question because it is the perfect transition. If we are all holographically connected to the virus, and it's already inside everyone, why do only some people actually get sick? Why are the hospitals full of some folks while others walk around completely fine? Xu Feng answers this through the lens of karma, or cause and effect. He states that reality is simply the projection of one's own consciousness. Basically, you reap what you sow. In his view, sickness and suffering aren't just random terrible luck. They are the karmic penalty for past transgressions. Blessings and good health, on the flip side, are the direct result of merit. He uses this incredibly grounded, everyday metaphor of doing laundry to explain how these karmic conditions work. Think about it. Lights don't just magically teleport out of thin air. They desperately need a dirty, unwashed environment to actually thrive. If you wash your clothes, the conditions for lice completely disappear. If you leave them unwashed, lice are inevitable. So the ultimate takeaway from his karmic theory is that the virus is merely a catalyst. It's kind of like a tiny spark that can only ignite a fire if your internal spiritual conditions, your accumulated karma, are already primed for it, like a pile of dry wood. Without those negative internal conditions, Zhou Feng argues you could literally be surrounded by the virus on all sides and remain perfectly healthy. Understanding those three pillars brings everything into focus and explains exactly why he is making this argument, leading us to Section 5, the Chanyuan path, and what he sees as the ultimate solution. Let's think about the number 260 for a second. That represents the over 260 warnings to the world that Xu Feng states he has written over the past 17 years. As the founder of Life Chanyuan, he claims his writings have consistently and accurately predicted the very global crises we are living through right now. His article argues that humanity has largely ignored these spiritual warnings, choosing instead to be swallowed up by the modern world, which has directly led us to this state of affairs. He believes that while it might be too late to effortlessly steer the world away from danger, the fundamental universal laws of cause and effect are still running the show. Because the root of the problem is spiritual rather than medical, the founder of Life Chanyuan concludes that the only viable solution is a complete, top-to-bottom societal and personal overhaul. He is urging people to completely abandon traditional modes of production and living. To survive the crisis, he states individuals must adopt his specific spiritual framework, choosing to walk what he calls the Chanyuan path. Shui Feng's framework is obviously a radical, absolute departure from everything modern science tells us about disease transmission. But by reframing a global pandemic as a deeply personal karmic mirror, he definitely forces us to pause and ask a pretty compelling philosophical question. Whether you agree with the founder of Life Chanyuan or not, we're left with this. If you truly believed that your internal thoughts and actions were solely responsible for the physical reality around you, how drastically would you change the way you live your life today?